Good evening, everyone. I know you guys are pretty excited about seeing what I got up here. I know every time you go into the sporting goods store and you walk past the fishing lures, you're like, how in the world do they make those? I mean, I know I do. And that's what got me into it. You know, I've been fishing my whole life. I at one time was a professional fisherman, and when I say professional, I mean I was unemployed. And the only money I made was from fishing tournaments and winning sometimes losing, depending on how good I ate that week. So, what got me into making fishing lures was basically losing so many fishing lures and realizing these suckers cost $3 a piece, and I lose probably 20 to 30 of them in a season. So, you know, it adds up. And I actually ran into the owner of Strictly Bass at a fishing show one time. I was talking to him. He's, said, hey, it's not hard to make the fishing lures. You know, it's just a short investment, or small investment, and a little bit of time learning it. And he said, he offered up his knowledge to me, and I gave me his card, and I could call him with questions. And then, then I also use sources like Barlow's Tackle, which sells all the materials for making tackle, and they have all kinds of resources on there as well as YouTube. So there's a lot of resources out there you can use to find how to make fishing lures. But I can make this fishing lure for about 35 cents, where it costs me $3 to $4, depending on what kind of features you want on it. And then I'm going to show you here's a bass fishing jig. And what's involved in the bass fishing jig? You got a hook. And this is a weed guard, and this actually helps you from saving them because it's supposed to stop sticks and everything that it hits from actually getting into the hook. And that's the design of it. And it's got a lead head on it. And then a nice little pretty skirt that makes it look like a fish, and they call it a jig because you jig it up and down on the bottom of the water. So, get into the process here. I've got here the first thing, safety. We're going to be melting lead. We're going to be dealing with fumes. That's why I got the mask, because when you're melting lead melts at 621.5 degrees Fahrenheit, so you're talking some really hot stuff. Also very deadly as far as poisons. You want your mask, eye goggles, make sure you don't get any splash from the lead. Once you melt your lead, and this is a pound of lead right here, and you melt it, and you use a little cast iron pot, or they make all different kinds of things. And once you got your lead melted, you got your little mold here. And inside this mold, open it up here, you can see it's got, this is what the jig looks like. This is the basic raw jig once it comes out. So you put your hook and your little weed guard in there, and you close it up, and then you pour your lead in there. Hot lead goes in, you open it out, and open it up, and bam, you got a jig. It's just the raw version of it, not painted, but very simple, useful. It's ready to be painted at this point. You got multiple types of paint. You got your spray paint, everybody's got, but you also got a powder paint. And powder paint is really neat stuff, and that's what gives it a nice glaze. This is really thin powder. I mean, it's just, you blow it and you probably all blow out of here. But what you do is you heat this up. Well, I use a candle or you use a lighter. Just heat it up. It's metal, so it's going to conduct across the whole thing. Get a nice time, you just dip it into the powder, and it comes out looking all pretty and shiny, just like they do in the store. And you can actually take this to another level and actually put it in the oven, and it'll harden it more, so this stuff's like steel. I mean, you can throw it against a brick wall and that paint stays on there. I mean, it's really good stuff. Then we go on, now that we got our pretty little painted jig here, we're going to go on, we're going to put the skirt on. Now, I invented my own little skirt inserter, I guess you would say, and what you have here is a little rubber band. And this rubber band is what goes on the jig that holds the skirt on. So we got to get that over the skirt material, which this is how it comes raw from the manufacturer. It's just a little bit of material. So what I'm going to do is, in my little invention here, what I did is took a knitting needle and a big pin. Real simple, just like that. So what I did to get this, I'm going to take my skirt and I'm going to run it up my big pin here, just like that. If I can get it all together here. And then I'm going to stick my little thing over it, just like that. If I can get it to stay on there. Right like that. And then run that in there like that. Then I'm going to take my rubber band, push it right over my knitting needle like that, so it gets over the top of it. Run it all the way down. pop that out, pull this down, pull it out, and then I'm going to clip the ends because they're sealed at the manufacturer. So clip those off. Got a little bit better here. And I've got the basic skirt here. What we're going to do now is our little jig we made. Once I straighten up this rubber band a little bit, got our jig. We're just going to stick it right through the middle of this thing. Now you got the basics of the jig. Then you can go another step further. You got rattles you can add to it, make it sound like it's feeding on the bottom. Or there's different, fishermen are weird. We got little cords that we'll swear by. If the water's muddy, you got to have sound, and but yeah, this is the basic one. But I make all different kinds. I also make spinner baits. This is one I made. It's just wire. It's the same idea. Use a mold. But lately I've gotten into actually hand carving crankbaits, because crankbaits, this is where your money's at. Crankbaits like this can cost $10, $15, up to $25, depending on how really nice you want them. This is one in progress, but I'll get this and I'll put some epoxy over it to where it's all clear and hard, and then I'll spray paint it. I got a little air compressor that I can paint these with and make them look like they came right from the store. And this right here, the wood cost me probably a big block of it I paid like $6, $8 for, and then the hooks are maybe 10 cents each. So this for $5, $10 lure, it costs me only less than $1 to make. So it's a cost saving method of if you're going to fish, and it's if you're going to fish long term a lot, you really got to do it. It's going to cost you a lot more. So next time you guys are walking through the sporting goods store and you see a fishing lure, you now know how it's made.